Have you ever wondered what sea monsters are still out there right now? Today, we're counting down the scariest ones that actually exist, not legends. Some inspired ancient myths for a reason, and the craziest creature is saved for the end. 1. Giant Squid. The giant squid is the closest real-life answer to the kraken. For centuries, sailors described huge arms rising from black water. People laughed until modern science confirmed these animals are real. In the deep sea, they hunt in near-total darkness with massive eyes that catch tiny light. But here's where it gets weird. Some giant squids have circular sucker rings that can leave scars, like living claw marks. And when a sperm whale shows up with fresh wounds, you start to realize those old monster fights weren't just stories. 2. Colossal squid. If the giant squid is the kraken's shadow, colossal squid is the heavyweight version. It lives even deeper and colder, and it can be thicker bodied, built like a submarine. Instead of just suction cups, it can have rotating hooks on its arms. Hooks on a squid. The story doesn't end there. Most of what we know comes from pieces found in predator stomachs caught by accident. So imagine a creature big enough to fight back, that we almost never see alive. 3. Oarfish. Oarfish might be the real animal behind sea serpent legends. They're long, silver, and ribbon-like, and when one washes ashore, it looks unreal. People have reported a giant snake rolling near the surface for centuries. Sometimes they weren't lying, they were just seeing an oarfish. But here's where it gets weird. Oarfish usually live deep, so when they appear near shore, it can mean something changed. Currents, storms, stress, or sickness. So every time one shows up, it feels like the ocean is delivering a message. 4. Goblin Shark. The Goblin Shark looks like a shark designed from a nightmare, but it's real. It has a long snout and a jaw that can launch forward to grab prey. In the deep sea, you don't chase food, you ambush it. And this shark is built for sudden, silent strike. But here's where it gets weird. People once thought reports of weird pink sharks were mistakes or hoaxes. Then cameras and deep water catches proved it. This living fossil has been cruising below us the whole time. 5. Saltwater crocodile. Saltwater crocodiles are river dragons that can enter the sea. They're massive, patient, and they don't need to rush. In some places, they've been found far from shore, riding currents like living tanks. And they can launch from still water so fast, you barely process what happened. But the story doesn't end there. Old coastal legends talk about man-eaters and water spirits that take people at the edge of land and sea. Sometimes folklore is just a warning, told in a way you never forget. 6. Great white shark. The great white shark is famous, but it's still easy to underestimate. It can rise from deep water like a torpedo and hit prey with perfect timing. Some attacks look like a single blur, then silence. And in open ocean, you can't see what's beneath you, only what's above. But here's where it gets weird. For a long time, people debated whether great whites were true hunters or just opportunists. Modern tracking shows they move with purpose, following seasons and prey routes like ocean nomads. 7. Box jellyfish. Box jellyfish look simple, and that's what makes them scary. They can be nearly invisible in the water, like drifting glass. Some species have venom strong enough to cause rapid, severe reactions in humans. So the danger isn't teeth, it's contact. But the story doesn't end there. In places where they appear, people tell stories about death in the water you can't see. And for once, the myth is accurate. The monster can be almost transparent. 8. Portuguese man-o-war. This one looks like a floating balloon, but it's a colony that acts like a single creature. A man-o-war isn't one animal in the usual sense. It's a team of specialized bodies, working together like a living machine. And its tentacles can trail far behind it, sometimes longer than you expect. But here's where it gets weird. Even when it washes up on shore, it can still sting. So, the monster doesn't need to chase you. It just drifts into your world. 9. Cone snail cone. Snails are small, and that's the trick. They look like beautiful shells you'd pick up without thinking. But some species fire a tiny harpoon tooth loaded with venom to paralyze prey. A slow creature that hunts like a dart gun. But the story doesn't end there. Island folklore often warns about pretty things in the sea that bite back. And in labs, scientists study cone snail toxins because they're powerful enough to change medicine. 10. Giant siphonophore, the craziest one. This is the closest thing to a real sea serpent made of living pieces. A giant siphonophore can look like a glowing chain drifting in the deep. But it's not one animal. It's a colony. Many bodies linked together, each doing a job. Some sections help it float. Some help it eat. Some help it move. But here's where it gets weird. In deep water, it can form a long, looping shape that looks like a single, massive creature. So when old sailors swore they saw a living rope or a glowing serpent, they might have been closer to the truth than anyone knew. So maybe the ocean didn't lose its monsters. Maybe we just stopped looking deep enough. If you had to pick one to meet, just for 1 minute, what would it be?